It doesn't take a world-class mechanic to get a car to run well past its life expectancy. It's the same as being not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I know that by eating a salad once in a blue moon or doing a push-up or two, I'll live longer. Same principle applies here. I know that by sticking to certain regimens, maintaining a schedule, and knowing my way around this here engine bay, my cars tend to stay with me for a long time, living out happy and healthy lives. They're like pets. And if you treat your car the same way, mechanical prowess or none, your cars will stay with you for years and years until they become a classic, like you. Imagine the satisfaction of seeing your odometer roll over to 500,000 miles. It's possible. So without any further ado, here are 5 easy tips to keep your car running long, strong, and healthy. Oh, well, there's your problem right here.
Number 1. Keep it clean.
Let's start with the simplest tip of them all. Wash and wax your car regularly. This might seem overly obvious. Then again, it might not. What does washing my car have to do with its overall health, you might be asking yourself? Well, believe it or not, keeping your car clean is more than just about aesthetics. And waxing it is not just for the enthusiast. When you don't wash your car, all the foreign elements in the air will collect onto the body. Over time, that coat of film will eat through the clear coat, and eventually your paint will start to oxidize and turn into rust. If that rust goes beyond the surface of your paint job and gets into the metalwork, then that car is done for. Rust is like cancer to a car, and it spreads like wildfire, especially if the subframe or chassis components are exposed. Now, those of us fortunate enough to live in sunny Southern California think we're immune to the worst rust-causing elements just because we don't see snow and rock salts. But think again. What's that big, beautiful blue thing we're all so lucky to live right next to? Oh, right, the ocean. And what's in the ocean? Salt. Lots of it. So while that gentle, salty breeze might caress your flowing, sun-kissed blonde hair during one of our glorious San Diego sunsets, while it lulls you to sleep fortnightly, it's straight up killing the surface of your car. Be afraid. Be very afraid. You want to see your car last 500,000 miles? Keep it clean. And if you really like your car, wash it by hand. It's the easiest way to bond with your car. Drive-through car washes are convenient, but those big brushy things are abrasive and will leave scratches and swirling on your paint job, and you'll drive away with unwanted water spots. A good hand wash, maybe once a month, should do the job, unless you live closer to the ocean, in which case maybe a little more frequently. If you don't have access to your own hose and bucket, you can use one of those coin-operated DIY car wash places, but be careful how close you put the power washer nozzle to your car and stay away from the brushes with those thick bristles. Would you run a broom across your paint job? I don't think so. Those DIY car wash places also usually include a spray-on wax, which should be all you need most of the time, but I would recommend a professional wax job maybe once or twice a year. Here at Auto City, we have a team of expert detailers who can help guide you through the necessary steps on keeping your car purty and healthy inside and out. They're real artists. Do it now and thank me later. And keep the interior clean. Show some respect.
Number 2. Know your engine bay.
You want your car to last longer? Get to know your engine bay. Again, you don't have to be a mechanic, but it helps to be able to identify at least the major components of your engine and other parts under the hood. Engine parts such as the intake manifold, the valve cover, the cylinder head beneath it, other parts such as the brake master cylinder, your air intake, your ignition coil, and the fuse box. Now that's an important one. Knowing which fuse powers what can save you a ton of money on unnecessary electrical repairs. If your instrument cluster goes dead or your windows won't roll up and down anymore, it could just be a blown fuse, and that will cost you all but 50 cents to repair. Why is this so important? Well, self-diagnosis of a potential problem can save you a lot of time and money. If you give your mechanic at least a starting point, they can get the job done a lot quicker and easier. Another quick tip while we're down here in the engine bay, squeeze your rubber. Every car has belts and hoses under the hood connecting this doohickey with that thingamajigger, and most of these belts and hoses are made up of rubber, and rubber dries and cracks over time. Take a look at your belts. Can you see a crack? Give your hoses a squeeze. Are they bulging at the edges? Are they cracking? Are there any holes? If so, these need to be replaced. Now, replacing belts and hoses is not expensive, but catching them in time could save you from potentially damaging other major components of the engine. Look at this. My cold start here needs new mounts, it seems. Self-diagnosis. Now let's talk fluids, the literal lifeblood of your car. Besides gasoline, your car requires engine oil. It requires brake fluid, coolant, power steering fluid, transmission fluid, differential fluid, blinker fluid, and of course, windshield washer fluid. It helps to know the colors and smells of each of these fluids so you don't mix them up. You don't want to put windshield washer fluid into your coolant tank, etc., etc. Now, each fluid has either a dipstick, like the oil here, or some sort of indicator that tells you the level at which the fluid should be and where it's at. Also, a lot of modern cars have readouts on the dashboard as well. If your fluid is a little low, that means you have a leak somewhere. Now, leaks are pretty common and usually not an emergency, especially on cars with higher mileage, and you can usually wait to top off the fluids at your next oil change. However, if your reservoir has gone completely empty or nearly empty, that means you have a major leak somewhere and you should get that looked at. If you take care of your engine, replace the fluids on time, and keep up on wear and tear, your car can last 500,000 miles or longer. Do it now and thank me later.
Number 3, check tire pressure.
Another seemingly obvious thing, but you'd be surprised how many drivers out there disregard the importance of tire pressure. While it is common knowledge that properly inflated tires will improve your gas mileage, they'll also last longer and extend the life of your suspension components, thereby putting less stress and wear on your car's chassis. If your car's weight is not evenly distributed, that affects its overall health. So keep an eye on your tire pressure. Now, some modern cars like this here Mini have computerized readouts that will tell you the exact PSI level of each individual tire. Pretty neat. For the rest of us, there's this handy device. Keep one of these tire pressure gauges in your glove box at all times. They cost about $3 at any gas station. Inside your driver door panel here, you'll find a little sticker that will tell you the factory recommended PSI of each tire, front and back. These numbers do tend to vary depending on the car. Your tires will also last you longer if you have them regularly rotated during other routine maintenance visits. Properly cared for tires can last up to 50,000 miles or 4 years. When the tread starts to wear too thin, replace them. Oh, and side note, if you buy a car used, make sure all 4 tires are matching. This means same brand, same size, same tread wear. If those tires are unmatched or uneven, that is a clear sign of neglect. Do it now and thank me later.
Number 4, don't abuse your engine. Know your limits.
All engines are built differently and for different purposes. Some are built for speed, some for efficiency, other engines are built for smoothness. There are engines out there that are famously bulletproof. You can't kill them no matter how hard you tried. On the other hand, there are some engines that are more sensitive. But no matter what the engine, no matter how it's built and what it's built for, if you treat it with respect, it will last you forever. It helps to get a feel for what kind of load your engine can take, where its limits are, how hard you can push it, and how much weight it can pull, because you don't want to overstress it. Obvious example, if your car has a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine turning out 109 brake horsepower like this here Nissan Versa, it's probably not the best idea to haul, say, a trunk full of cinder blocks. That engine is just not made to pull such weight. You're going to work it harder than it can work, and you're going to hurt the poor baby. You'll probably damage the suspension as well. In addition, cars like this need a little more time getting up to highway speeds, so slamming on the gas as soon as you approach the on-ramp might not be the best idea. You gotta give it some time. On the other hand, some engines are bred with a racing pedigree and are happiest at higher revs. So not only can you have the occasional ball, but having the occasional ball is somewhat required. Those engines need to see higher revs, say between 3,000 to 6,000 RPMs from time to time to prevent sediments from collecting in unused parts of the engine, thereby damaging its components. Just listen to your engine, get to know its quirks, and treat it with respect. And for crying out loud, let them warm up. No, you don't have to wait a full 10 minutes like they used to do in the pictures. Most modern cars can be driven right away. Just don't go nuts right away. Try to keep the revs below 3,000 RPM until the temp needle has reached its comfort point. Otherwise, you can potentially cause irreversible damage to your engine. Do it now. Thank me later.
Number 5. Make a schedule with your trusted mechanic and stick to it.
When you buy a car new, it comes with a recommended maintenance schedule. These service intervals are usually broken down in terms of time or mileage and include minor things like checkups and oil changes, but also major things like full tune-ups and a timing belt swap. Some cars have recommended maintenance schedules that go as high as 500,000 miles. Stick to this schedule and your car will thank you with a long life of servitude. If you buy your car used, if your car's a little older or has higher mileage like mine, you might not know where it stands on its factory recommended maintenance schedule, but don't panic, just start fresh. Set up a new schedule with your trusted mechanic, and just like your dentist who bugs you every 6 months when it's time for a cleaning, your mechanic will let you know when it's time to bring your car in for a checkup. Your car's mechanic should be like your family doctor. An extended relative, somebody you know and trust. I also recommend finding somebody who works specifically on your kind of car, or at the very least, limited makes of cars. Some mechanics only work on Fords. Some are experts in Swedish-made vehicles. Specialists. There's a specialist in your town for every kind of car and every age of car. For example, my last BMW was 30 years old. So I found a mechanic who not only just worked on BMWs, he just worked on BMWs from the 1980s. That's it. So I knew that he knew what he was doing with my car, and I trusted him fully. These are the mechanics to befriend. Buy him a nice bottle of wine over the holidays, bake him some brownies, whatever it takes. You want them to love your car as much as you do. Do it now and thank me later. I should probably mention that the items on this list pertain mostly to the used car market. Cars 5 years or older, 80,000 miles or higher, cars that have driven past their factory warranties. Some of the items are even specific to gas-powered cars with internal combustion engines. But times are changing. We are now living in the world where hybrids and electrics are becoming more and more common. I look forward to the future. I look forward to learning about care and maintenance on hybrids and electrics. Hopefully soon, I'll have a whole new list for you, new tips and tricks on how to make your electric car last forever. It's going to be very exciting. In the meantime, those are 5 quick and easy tips to help keep your car running forever. Treat it like a pet, a member of the family. If you found this list helpful, if you have any questions, comments, insults, or something you'd like to add, please do so in those little boxes below. From Auto City in El Cajon, California, this is Ariel Levine. Thank you so much for watching.